Enmei Saito had anticipated his first day at UA High to go extremely differently. He had expected his classmates to bow the moment they saw him enter the classroom, as it always was with people when he took the time out of his busy schedule to visit them. For the few that might not have heard of him, for whatever reason, they would at least respect him once he told them of his status. After all, Enmei was a god. He had abilities that far surpassed the ones of a normal human, quirk or not. His parents had always told him how he was special and how lucky they were to have given birth to him. He was their 7th child, so even number-wise, it had been clear that Enmei would bring fortune to his family. For 15 years now, he had blessed this mortal realm, performing his godly duties diligently. He healed those who came to his family's temple and shrine with a golden halo above his head after they gave their offerings in the form of money or a prayer. Blindness, cancer, severe burns, no bodily injury was too much for him to handle. And there sure were a lot of people getting injured. Too many villains out there causing trouble with the quirks they were given. He heard about it from his parents, siblings, and the visitors that came to his earthly abode. It was one of the reasons why he had decided to enroll at UA to become a hero. As a god, he had to set the world right with his own hands. Enmei had arrived at the correct classroom just 5 minutes before the bell would ring. The door was left wide open and gave view to a multitude of different teenage students. None of them seemed to recognize the sheer magnitude of his presence yet. They were chatting amongst themselves, comparing quirks and finding their seats. A wave of indignation washed over Enmei when his entry into the classroom didn't even turn one head. He cleared his throat, a sound that should have echoed through the room, commanding attention. Instead, it was barely audible amidst the chatter. One girl that looked like a humanoid green dragon with fiery red hair was standing in his way, shouting at another girl who was already sitting at her desk and had the head of a tiger. Mutants, huh? And they sure were loud.
You can never beat me. A dragon will always win against a tiger. You wouldn't be able to reach me once I take to the sky.
Oh yeah? You think you could take to the sky through the ceiling or something? I'd be able to strike you before you even flap your wings.
The dragon girl could not let that comment sit, so she spread her bat-like wings to their full size and swung them as if she wanted to take off right at that moment. What she didn't think of was how this motion would bring with it gusts of air. It was as if someone was opening and closing a window in fast repetition on a windy day. Everyone sitting or standing close had their hair flying wildly in their face. This was especially true for the two students at the desks right in front of the dragon girl, as well as Enmei, who was still in the doorway. The sudden breeze had caught him completely off guard. He had spluttered indignantly, his meticulously styled dark blue hair now a mess. Mortals, acting so carelessly. Did they have any idea who he was?
Excuse me? Is that any way to greet a god?
He crossed his arms to demand some respect in the chaos. At last, several eyes were focused on him. Now, surely they would see what mistake they had made in messing around like children in his presence. The prime offender, aka the Dragon Girl, had stopped her flapping, looking at Enmei with a mix of curiosity and amusement.
God? Yeah, right. If you are God, then I am the Queen of Dragons!
That sure did not sound the least bit like an apology. How could this girl be so rude? He had no choice. He would have to spell it out to her and the rest of the present non-believers. He took a deep breath, attempting to regain his composure. He would not stand for this mockery.
Indeed. I am a god. My name is Enmei Saito, and you will soon regret treating me with such disrespect.
Unfortunately, these words too did not have the desired effect. The dragon girl snorted, and the tiger girl 3 rows away gave a chuckle before getting distracted by a thin male student sitting right next to her. Meanwhile, Enmei only got a judgmental glare from a pink-haired girl sitting at the desk right in front. She collected some paper from the floor that had been blown away by the dragon girl's windy move. The tall guy next to her was combing through his long red hair with his fingers, trying to untangle the smooth strands without paying any attention to the supposed deity in front of him.
You really do think you're a god, huh? No joke.
The dragon girl asked with a grin.
I honestly honestly have to say, I have never seen a god as small as you before.
Enmei could feel the heat rising to his face. This was not going according to plan at all.
Size has nothing to do with status.
He barked, taking a step towards the green buffoon in front of him, staring her down. She, however, did not budge one bit from where she was standing. Instead, she leaned forward.
Oh, yeah?
She drawled, punctuating the question with another, smaller wing flap, just enough to ruffle Enmei's already disheveled hair again. It made the maybe god fume, but before he could retort, the pink-haired girl swiveled in her seat, her glare intensifying.
Both of you, knock it off. Some of us are trying to get ready for class. It's gonna start any minute, and the constant shouting from all sides is more than distracting.
She snapped.
Kasai-san, maybe try not to blow everyone's faces off with your wings. And Saito-san, was it? Maybe find a more productive way to spend your time than playing God.
Playing? Did she really just say that? It sounded like she was comparing Enmei to a child. The indignation swelled within him, threatening to erupt. But then he caught the eye of the red-haired guy, who had finally managed to untangle his hair and was now regarding Enmei with a look of profound pity.
Apologies, Saito-san. It has been quite the chaotic morning, so some of your fellow classmates are a little drained and on edge.
He gave a quick glance in the pink-haired girl's direction, who had gone to sort the books and writing utensils on her desk, trying to ignore the surrounding students.
It seems the timing of your entrance was unlucky.
Wrong. I always come wherever I go at exactly the right moment. As a god, luck is not something that applies.
I see.
Was the only reply to this divine comment. Instead of lingering on the topic, the red-haired guy switched to introductions, which Enmei did not appreciate.
Anyways, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. It seems quite unfair that all of us now already know of your name, Saito-san, so let me get you up to speed on who you met coming in here.
He stood up, revealing to be almost a head taller than Enmei. His hair, smooth and silky, got close to reaching his waist, with some of it having been put up in a bun. Strings of gold resembling vines were woven through the strands. On the guy's forehead, one could see 3 diamond-shaped markings.
To your right is Kuraiko Kasai.
He gestured to the dragon girl, who was tapping one of her clawed feet impatiently on the ground. The sound made Enmei's disdain for her grow with every clack.
Yep, that's me.
She exclaimed promptly, puffing out her chest.
And I'm going to be the coolest hero to ever exist.
Enmei scoffed inwardly. Coolest hero. As if she had a chance of reaching the heights of a top hero. After all, she didn't even understand the concept of divine presence and the respect one was supposed to direct to it.
To my left here is Chika Uesugi.
The tall student continued. He gestured towards the pink-haired girl, who offered a curt nod without looking up from her meticulously arranged desk. Enmei noted that she was surprisingly collected, despite her earlier outburst. One redeeming quality, perhaps.
And I am Masashi Yasuda.
The red-haired guy finished, offering a polite smile.
As everyone here, we are trying to become heroes, just like you.
Enmei absorbed the information, his godly mind processing the implications. These were his classmates. They were supposed to worship him the same way everyone else did. So, why were they treating him like an equal or even lesser, when it was his birthright to be on higher ground? He shifted his weight, still trying to smooth his hair and his ruffled, divine ego.
Heroes,
He repeated. Enmei believed them to be on a similar level to him as a god. Loved by humanity, helping those in need, standing above the rest. It was a natural step for him to hold the title of both god and hero and show these poor, annoying souls the way.
Yes, I'm aware of the purpose of this institution. I'm here to lead.
The statement hung in the air, met with an awkward silence, before Kuraiko, the dragon girl, burst out laughing.
Lead? You? I never work under someone like you. What can you even do that makes you think you can order us around? As far as I know, the only one here that has a quirk related to commanding is Mr. Smooth Talker here.
She pointed with her claw towards Masashi, who kept on smiling.
Oh, does he now?
Enmei thought, sending a glare in the tall boy's direction.
It is indeed true that I possess the ability to have others follow my orders. But not to worry. I won't use my power if it is not necessary.
I oblige you to never use that on me.
Enmei proclaimed. Masashi waved a hand dismissively.
I assure you, there is no need to be scared. I'd only use my quirk on my allies if it would help in battle.
I'm not scared!
Came a shrill cry from Enmei. How dare this mortal assume he, Enmei Saito, a god, could ever feel fear? It made his blood boil.
No need to be so defensive.
Came the comment from the tall boy, which made Enmei stomp his right foot angrily on the ground. Meanwhile, Kuraiko was holding her belly, loudly laughing.
You're so funny.
Suddenly, the bell rang out, cutting through the chatter in the classroom. It made everyone's focus shift towards the door, which Enmei resented. He was the one who demanded attention, not some common bell. Truly, this day was the worst of his life so far. Maybe he should have never come here. School was not what he had expected it to be. With no one new entering the classroom, the chatter in the room started back up. Masashi finally sat back down in his chair, brushing a few loose strands of crimson hair away from his face.
You should find yourself a seat, Saito-san. I believe there are still free ones in the back.
He looked over his shoulder to verify his claim, spotting an empty seat exactly 3 rows behind his own.
Why not take the one right there in front of that blonde boy?
How dare you try to tell me what to do? You can't order a god around. I'm the only one who commands. Do you not understand the very concept of divine authority? I choose where I go, and not some mere mortal pointing a finger.
Kuraiko, predictably, snorted before letting out another peal of laughter. Masashi, however, merely offered Enmei a small, almost apologetic smile.
My apologies, Saito-san. I meant no disrespect. I was simply trying to be helpful as a fellow classmate.
Well, you are not! Mark my words, you will regret your actions soon enough.
With those words, Enmei stormed off to the back of the classroom, his small frame radiating unalloyed, unadulterated affront. He speed-walked past Masashi, who did not offer a reply, then a woolly-haired girl wearing a mask who seemed to be sketching on a piece of paper, and lastly, the tiger-headed girl, who didn't even take note of Enmei's godly presence and instead opted to talking with 3 boys who sat close to her. One of them, with a headband, was seated on the desk next to the one Enmei was heading towards, kicking his legs and leaning forward excitedly. It seemed as if all but the desk Masashi had offered Enmei were taken. The only other ones no one sat at were in the middle of the last row and on the right side behind a girl with short rainbow hair, but stationery had already been placed on both. So Enmei had no choice but to drop his bag next to the desk furthest on the left in the 4th out of 5 rows. He did not want to sit there, in the back, especially not with someone else telling him to. Front and center should have been his place. But at the same time, sitting anywhere close to Masashi or Kuraiko right this moment sounded majorly displeasant. He slumped into the seat, arms crossed tightly over his chest, glaring at the back of Masashi's head as if he could incinerate it with sheer fury.
This is outrageous. Who do these people think they are?
In his anger, he didn't even take note of the boy right behind him, who was looking up from his desk carefully. In awe, the latter stared, seeing the shining halo float above Enmei's head. A small, hesitant
Whoa.
broke through Enmei's internal fuming. He slowly turned his head, his golden eyes meeting the wide, earnest olive green of the boy behind him. He had long, bright blonde hair, which was put up in a ponytail. A small deer horn extruded from his head, and as a whole the boy seemed to be fairly muscular. Enmei's glare softened ever so slightly. He was still infuriated by the blatant disrespect he'd faced, but the genuine awe in the boy's face was disarming. Maybe, just maybe, there was one person in this school who recognized his divine presence.
What is it?
He asked, his voice still carrying a sharp edge. The boy froze for a second as if he hadn't expected Enmei to speak to him.
Sorry. That just slipped out. Your halo, it's quite striking.
Finally, Finally, Enmei's radiating presence was acknowledged. He smirked with satisfaction, his halo shining brighter in the process.
Yes, well, it is a sign of my divinity. After all, I am a god.
The blond boy blinked a few times in confusion.
God?
Indeed. I am Enmei Saito, able to heal even the worst ailments with just a touch to my halo.
That's an impressive quirk. I am Kishi Nakayama. It's a pleasure to meet you, Saito-san.
I'm sure it is. It's not every day others get to revel in my light. You are lucky to be sitting behind me from this day forward.
Kishi took a strand of his own hair and rubbed it between his fingertips timidly.
I guess so. I'm honestly just glad you aren't a girl.
Enmei frowned, his halo dimming slightly.
And why would that be?
He tilted his head slightly, raising his right hand to his cross earring. It was something he often did when thinking.
Is it his quirk? Maybe it only works on a specific gender.
Well, it's just... I've never really been any good at talking to girls. I know it sounds stupid, but they're scary. Especially in this class.
It didn't really make sense to Enmei how girls could be scary to someone with Kishi's stature, but he didn't dwell on it. Instead, he swiveled his chair to face Kishi completely.
I understand.
You do?
Indeed. All mortals have fears, after all. As a god, I am the only sole exception.
Kishi scrunched up his face.
Do you really think you're a god?
Of course I am. Do you doubt my divinity?
No, well, I guess I just haven't met any other gods before.
Kishi replied, his large frame seeming to shrink into the seat a little. For Enmei, this answer was enough. Pleased, he looked at the boy in front of him. This was more like it. Truly a far cry from the insulting disregard Masashi had shown or the complete disrespect displayed by Kuraiko. Those two had already missed their mark, and if they'd ever need his healing power, he would have none to spare. Kishi, however, seemed open to the truth at least.
I am not surprised. It is quite rare to come upon a god visible on this plane of existence. As I told you before, you are lucky.
So, you mentioned not having a fear. Does that mean you have never been afraid of anything?
Obviously.
I wish I could be that confident. Not feeling fear would make life easier.
At that moment, the door to the classroom slid open with a bang, and a man with a rugged face and a yellow mask over his eyes strode in. His tall and bulky appearance grasped the attention of everyone present. Even Enmei had turned around to see who had entered, though he did not recognize the man.
Attention! My name is Vlad King, the Blood Hero, and I am your homeroom teacher for your first year here at UA High.
The purple-haired boy who had sat on the desk next to Enmei's jumped down at once and scrambled to his actual seat next to Kishi's, leaving the one he had occupied empty. Kuraiko, too, finally moved from the front of the classroom to her place behind the girl with short rainbow hair, looking back at the pro-hero in their midst with excitement. Enmei did not take note of this. He felt a flicker of something akin to awe at seeing the man. This person exuded power. He demanded respect, just like a god should. Just like what Enmei had always been destined for.
Now, you're here to become heroes, and that won't be a walk in the park. You will have to train hard, be dedicated, work together to achieve your dreams. Only that way will you be able to succeed against the villains out there.
Vlad King announced, his booming voice filling the room. To this, Enmei nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. This hero, he understood the true essence of leadership and how to command. Surely he would be capable of recognizing Enmei as the true god he was.
First things first, let's do a roll call. When I read your name, you'll introduce yourself with your quirk and demonstrate it, if possible.
The teacher continued, shooting a knowing glance to the left side of the room. As if he had expected it, at that moment the door slid open, revealing a small, chubby boy with short green hair and an inwardly caving horn extruding from each side of his forehead. He looked with great annoyance into the full classroom before, without a word, shuffling to the empty seat beside Enmei. Everyone was watching in surprised silence. Vlad King narrowed his eyes at the late entrance of his student, but chose to ignore it, not bothering to scold him or explaining to the newcomer what he had missed.
All right then. Let's go in order of your randomly assigned UA numbers. First off, Kuraiko Kasai.
The dragon girl stood up like a flash, introducing herself and showing off her wings, tail, and claws. Enmei wasn't paying attention, instead sulking over not having been the first student to be called. The number 1 spot should have belonged to him. His hand once again went to his golden cross earring, tapping it slowly with his index finger. The day sure was off to a weird start. He hadn't felt this kind of irritation in quite a while. Normally, it was only brought on by one of his older siblings, mocking his godly status, but today there had been several new people putting him down. He sighed dramatically, crossing his arms once more, waiting for the charade to finally reach its turn. He would show them. Oh, he would show them all.